Hey guys, Tyler here out of Colorado. Wanted to show you how to change a blade drive on the Andis AG Plus. So here we go. So, first thing we're going to do is take off the case. It's a regular Phillips screwdriver, number 2. We'll get these apart for you. Pull out the screws, place them in a good spot where you won't lose them. If you take notice, the 2 front screws are longer than the 2 back screws. So this one's in the front, this one's in the back. This one's up by your blade drive. So make sure you, when you reassemble it, put the 2 long screws up front. So I'm just going to lay them like that, so the 2 long screws are up front. And then we can open the case. That's what your clipper looks like inside. This is a lot of hair. So we're going to get rid of all that. Set it down. But as you can see, there's no foam pad. So as part of this maintenance, we're going to install a foam pad. Also, so now we got 2 screws. Got one here and one under there. These are number 1 Phillips screws. So get a small screwdriver like this one, and that's what you want to use to undo these screws. I use my thumbnail to kind of hold it on the screwdriver. And then the other thing I like to do when I am servicing clippers is to take off the hinge with your number 2 Phillips again, just your regular one you'd find in your kitchen or whatever. So now we got the hinge taken off. And then there's this little hinge spacer you want to make sure you don't lose when you take off your hinge. Looks like a spring, but it's very necessary, and it just goes in this little area right here. Now we can just pull the blade drive off. Yeah, this one's really weak, old, chewed up. So get a air compressor or your can of air and just blow out your clippers here. And the same with the hinge. All that hair out. Same with the case. Some hair in there, so I'll clean it up. So we got our Andis blade drive from Andis, a real one. And when they come, they're a little stiff. So I like to just kind of just do that real quick. That. Just a little bit, just to make sure it's not so stiff. Don't wear it out. Don't do it a billion times, but just a little bit. Give it a little give. It'll be easier on your motor, be a little quieter. And the other thing we're going to do is to keep all that hair out of the motor area where we saw it before. We're going to take this little foam pad and just stick it up there. Just to ensure that the oils and everything won't get back in there. And it's just a sticker, so you can take it off too if someone doesn't like it, but I think it helps. And then we're just going to do it all backwards. I'm going to take the blade drive here. Stick it on. Make sure the blade drive sits. So here we go. It's not quite sitting there. Perfect example. A lot of people try to change their own, and this is one thing they miss. See this gap right here? There's a pin here You look, that little hole. So it has to go through the hole, and then there's a slit here. Right there, that little slit of plastic has a spot. So you can see there's a little gap. And we're just going to make sure everything's sitted on there right, and then move around. It's always easiest if you push this cam. It's easier if you push the cam bearing down, so it's on the bottom. So now we're going, after we push the cam to the bottom, we're going to lay the blade drive on top, make sure all the slots and everything are aligned. This is a perfect example because it doesn't want to go right away. You just heard it snap in there. So now it's all seated properly. No gap here. Good to go. Just set it back down. Take your little P1 screwdriver, screw it back in. Just snug, you don't want to overdo it. You can strip the screws, the holes. Just snug. And then, time to put the case back on. I like putting the case on before I put the hinge back on, just because it's easier to hold the clipper without all the parts trying to fall out of it. And it just spaces the hinge out so it's at the right angle. I'm going to put the hinge back on over the blade drive. Take your screwdriver and screw it all back together. And there we go. It's on there. And then take the two long screws. And then two short screws in the back. Screw them down. Once again, these cases are a little brittle, so don't over tighten it, because you can break your case. And I have done it once or twice, and that's how I know. So I just barely even screw them in. I mean, it's snug, not coming apart at all. But that's how you do it. It looks like a brand new hinge, and not a brand new hinge, but brand new clipper again. And that's how you change your blade drive in the Andis AG Plus. Alright. Alright, so I hope that helps some of you to change the blade drive on your Andis AG Plus. All the Andis blade drives are the same, except this one you just have to take the whole cover apart. You can't just take off the cap. That's the main difference with this one. And the hinge spacer is a tiny little spring instead of that nice flat piece. It's much easier to lose a spring, so be very careful when you take it off. And that's it. If you have any trouble, message me, comment. I'll walk you through it. I'll help you out. Have a good one.